Welcome to Let's Talk Chiropractic. I'm Dr. John Degenhardt. I'm a local chiropractor for 42 years now. And this is my pretty Gina Callavini. Thanks for coming, sweetie.
Yes, thanks for having me.
We've been doing these shows, Gina, for probably 30 years because so many people, in my opinion, are afraid of chiropractors or they don't understand what we do. So give a little introduction. Tell the audience, who is Gina Callavini?
So yes, my name is Gina Callavini. I am 44 years old. I am a special education teacher as well as a server right now at Cracker Barrel. Very busy. I have two beautiful girls who are 15 and 11, and they keep me on my toes. We're very, very active. Soccer and track and all sorts of things.
And we're gonna hear her story. That's why, Gina, I love what I do. You look like a beautiful person who has a beautiful family, but if you don't have your health, you can't really, if you have a migraine from a car accident, you can't do all those things you're talking about. So
Right.
That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Anybody who ever had a car accident, even if you think I was never injured in my car accident, the show is going to show you x-rays as to what's going to happen to your neck 20, 30 years after the accident. So go to the bathroom, get a glass of water, come back in a minute. Thank you. Welcome back to Let's Talk Chiropractic. I want to first, before we hear Gina's story, I want to give you an understanding from a chiropractic viewpoint of what we're looking for, Gina. You were in a car accident. When was your first car accident, by the way?
March of last year. So
No, the first one, though, before that. Was it March of last year?
March, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about that now. Most people watching this show, they're going to do what you did. What did you do after? Tell us quickly what happened in an accident and what did you do afterwards?
Sure. I was on my way to work. Probably should have stayed home that day. It was a major ice storm. I thought that I could get to work before, any real weather came. Wasn't the case. As soon as I got onto Route 61, I hit ice. My car slid. Nothing anyone could do. It started to spin out of control. I came head on with a tractor trailer.
Oh, that's scary.
Hit off that, then kept spinning, hit off another car, kept spinning, hit the median, and finally stopped.
Yeah.
The car was totaled. It was pretty traumatic.
Yep.
I've never been in an accident at all, especially one like that. So
It sounds scary just sharing those details about it.
yeah.
So did someone call an ambulance or what did you do? Did you go to the hospital?
So I was in complete shock. I feel I had an angel that stopped and helped me quite a bit. He mentioned to me, you really need to get out of your car, and and laid it out for me step by step on what I needed to do, who I needed to call, and what needed to happen. Before I knew it, the ambulance was there, the cops were there. Yeah, so I'm not sure who did all that, but yes, it was done, and they were there.
Not to divert, but I've had many patients tell me that, John, somebody pulled me from my fiery car, and then when the first responders, they came, said, how did you get here? So there are guardian angels. So thank the Lord that whatever was there to help you that night. So because of the trauma, you needed an ambulance that accident.
I did. At least I thought I did, and they convinced me that I did. I wasn't bleeding. I didn't have any major injuries. I was a bit sore and banged up, from the crash, but nothing major. But at the time, I didn't really know, and I just kind of went along with whatever was recommended for me.
So they recommended painkillers, muscle relaxants?
So I went into the ambulance and we went to the emergency room, and they just did a checkup, with all the different tests, but that required being hooked up to an IV and checking your vitals and taking blood work and going through this CAT scan and all things that I'm thankful they were so thorough about, but in the end, it wasn't anything that I needed. I wasn't injured in that way. What the injuries I did have, though, however, which when I came to you after the second accident was that clicking in the neck, because that was a result from the first, that stayed, and I didn't have the insurance money to help get that fixed.
And pretend you're them, Gina. If there's any doctors or nurses watching this show, they have to do multiple tests for lawsuits. They have to make sure there's no brain bleeds, that there's no fractures, because if they don't and they find something later, then they're in trouble. So they almost exhaust. Let's explain it quickly. In the state of Pennsylvania, the law is the minimum coverage you have is $5,000, which means if you get hit in an accident, you have like a credit card. Your car insurance, which was whom?
State Farm.
So State Farm says to you, we give you $5,000, you spend it how you want to as a patient. So that day, they probably spent $1,000 on the ambulance, and again, it was necessary. What you just explained was pretty traumatic. So then they probably took CAT scans for brain bleeds, x-rays for fractures, medications, but a lot of people, they'll go to physical therapy, and that's why I'm doing the show tonight, Gina. The money is used up then, that $5,000. So here's a patient whose neck was traumatized by her car was spinning on ice. She hits a tractor trailer head on. Chiropractors are simply saying, don't negate that part of but yet somehow let chiropractic be part of the story. And I'm going to prove why tonight, because on an x-ray, just to share with people, if this was someone looking at me, God gave us a curve in the neck where the vertebrae should be smooth with disc spaces in between. So when these medical doctors take x-rays, Gina, they will always say in their reports, no fractures, patient's fine. What chiropractors will get frustrated over, they're not fine. Their spine is way out of alignment, but in all respect, it's not their job to look for proper alignment. That's how we're trained. It's their job to look for brain bleeds and fractures. It's our job to do more of a mechanical alignment. So let's look at your x-ray. I think we only have a minute before we take a break. So if we want to see equal disc spaces, look at this young teacher's neck, if you can see it on TV. Here's her jaw. You got a couple fillings in there, huh?
Yes.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's good disc spaces. The vertebrae are smooth just like it's supposed to be. But look at the base, Gina. That disc space there, and if they can see it on TV, is 50% thinner than that disc space. And there's white like a tip. We call it the beginning of a spur or an osteophyte, both in the front and the back. That's what caused clicking. But my concern is that's let go. And then those people will come to me 20 years later. That's what this x-ray is about. 20 years later, this woman will have migraines, numbness in her arms, possible disc surgery, and because of an accident that was let go. So the point we're trying to make now, Gina needed an ambulance. She needed all those medical tests. But no one ever said to her, go to a chiropractor. And that's why she adds credibility to this show by stating that a gentle chiropractor is necessary to get the spine back in place.
Most definitely.
So let's take a break. We're going to come back then and look at more x-rays. Thank you so much. And again, I appreciate you spending your time with us. This is Let's Talk Chiropractic. You could be out planting your tulip bulbs or whatever you want to do. So thank you for coming tonight. We love what we do at this office. We believe we change people's lives. I'm dedicated. We love what we do, Gina. So she was in a bad accident in March of last year. She went the medical route. I'm not against that. I'm here 40 years. Many medical doctors refer patients to me. But then, Gina, tell them again. You were in another car accident on what date?
On August 1st.
Okay.
Just a few months later,
What happened?
just got my brand new car. I was heading home, and I had to make a stop so that the car in front of me can make a left-hand turn.
Okay.
Out of nowhere, this red pickup truck comes from behind and just
Boom.
boom. That's it. Yes. So yeah, it hits me from behind, caused major damage to my car, and I instantly just felt horrible. I felt unbalanced, unaligned, very sore. The difference between this one and the first one was a different kind of soreness, where the location of the soreness, this was really felt now in my shoulders and in my neck. And I actually didn't even think of coming to see you even after the second time it happened. I went on vacation. I thought, oh, I'm just sore from the impact. It'll go away, kind of like the first time. But it didn't. It wasn't. About when I got back from vacation, about a week and a half to 2 weeks later, I came in just for an adjustment, and I mentioned to you what had happened. I don't even think I mentioned to you about the first accident prior to that. So, at that time, it all came out. You found out about the first one, you found out about the second one, and then you mentioned to me about how the car insurance works, and how this how we can work together for this to benefit me.
And the good news is after the second accident, you didn't need an ambulance. You didn't get CAT scans and all those x-rays. So to be blunt, the $5,000 was there again for the second accident. You were able to utilize that for chiropractic care.
Yes.
And that's the point. I want people to, Gina, you almost have to be like your own doctor. If someone is watching this show and they have that first accident, you needed to spend, one of my points would be maybe increase your coverage. I'm not a car insurance salesman, but maybe in the future, call your agent and say, how much if I have $25,000 coverage? My understanding is about $100 more per year, which means if you have a bad accident, get that ambulance, get that CAT scan, get the x-ray, then still come and see a chiropractor. So now that you had the second accident, you didn't use that money for medical care. How is the money being used now?
Oh, it's wonderful. I have been coming here almost the entire time, 3 times a week. Yeah, 2 to 3 times a week, getting a massage and an adjustment each time. And it's just been amazing. Each week I could feel a difference. Each adjustment I felt a difference. And week to week, week from week, it just got better and better. I didn't realize, I don't think I realized how hurt I was or how much I needed what was being done until I started to feel better each week.
Gina, and I always like to pretend I'm in the audience. I had a woman once she's called a claims adjuster. A claims adjuster is someone, when you have an accident, you call them to say, I was just in a car accident, I want to open up a claim, I want to go see a doctor. She came to me, she said, I thought for years you chiropractors were quacks. She said, a person goes to a hospital, sees their family doctor after their accident, they take painkillers, must relax, they're done. She goes, but you guys want to see them 2-3 times a week for 3-4 months. She goes, I always thought it was a ripoff of the car insurance until she was in a car accident. She came here just like you. After her third car accident, she goes, now I understand. Now I see it's like going to a gym and very gradually getting back the proper curves to the spine so that my discs and my nerves will be good 20, 30 years. And she said, what an eye-opening it is. But like you, Gina, people who are watching this show who actually have not been to this office, we're trying, and that's why I love you. If I say this, they're going to say he's just a chiropractor trying to drum up his business. I don't care if they go to other chiropractors, Gina. I want your testimony to say, okay, the first accident traumatized me. I didn't have enough money to really go for more care. Because to be honest, those massages, right? They're paid for by the car insurance.
Yes.
They're $50 cash. They're $70 anywhere else. To come 2-3 times a week and pay $70 out of pocket, Gina, nobody will do that.
No.
You have daughters who want eyelashes and makeup and all that stuff,
Right.
So.
And I needed it. I didn't think that I would nearly need it as long as we were doing it. And I remember at one point even saying to you, oh, I'm feeling better now. We should probably decrease. And you're like, no, just keep coming. And it really made a difference even then, even for those few extra weeks.
And believe me, Gina, that's why the third part of the show in another minute from now is going to show why. That's why we showed you your x-rays coming here and down the road. If we don't get this curve back in the neck, and I can show 50 x-rays, but we'll show just one for the time limit of the show, of what would happen to Gina Callavini if she said, John, like most people watching the show, I feel okay. I took Tylenol, I went to physical therapy. I feel okay, my accident was minor. They come to me now 25 years later, Gene. They need disc surgeries, their arms are numb, they can't pick up their coffee cup. So let's close this segment. The last segment, we'll be talking about what happened if Gina Callavini never came to the chiropractor. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, folks. Go for a cookie. This is Dr. John again with Gina Callavini. Remember, she had one bad accident, probably got some post-traumatic stress disorder because a tractor trailer hit her head on when she's spinning on ice, which sounds pretty scary. So she needed to use her $5,000 of her medical coverage for that traumatic accident, but she had no money left for spinal injuries, I'll call it. Lo and behold, she finally gets a new car, is mentally probably getting over the first accident. What happens again? A red truck hits her from behind. Probably had whiplash injury, Gina. So you came to me, and I had to gently say, well, geez, Gina, you got the insurance coverage. So for people to, and I'm talking blunt on these shows, you don't need any referral to see a chiropractor. No. You know, when patients want to see a physical therapist, they need a referral from their medical doctor. And I think it should be abolished. Why can't that person just see the physical therapist? They could come and just see the chiropractor like you did. So then we sort of educated Gina, understand you got $5,000, Gina. You can get adjustments and massages and x-rays. That's all covered by the insurance. So we took x-rays of you.
Yes.
We showed you how, again, you're supposed to have a normal neck, no matter how good or bad you feel. If you can see this on TV, I know it could be a little bit of a darker x-ray. But Gina, look again. C1, C2, 3, 4, 5. His C5, C6 disc space is about 50% thinner than that, but also here and below it, this man's arms go numb, he can't work, he can't sleep. They're talking about possible putting a cage in his neck, fusion. So he comes to me. This is not a car accident patient. I use the analogy, if an orthodontist uses braces to slowly straighten teeth over the course of 3 years, you remember, our goal was to use your $5,000 to get you symptomatically feeling better.
Yes.
But as you know, we got to close the claim soon. You're feeling great. Now the goal is to come just once a month. We'll take x-rays, we said, once a year. It takes about 3 years, Gina. When that curve is like that, you'll be an old, gray, beautiful woman someday with no arthritis and no problems. But like this man, he rolled his truck 27 years ago. So that's why I'm doing the show. People here's what I've seen, Gina. If you cause, okay, this guy with the red truck who hit you, you know what they say to me? I was at fault. I think I'm not a psychologist, but if you hit me, Gina, only 11% of those patients go to see doctors. I think because they feel in their heart, I'm at fault. I'm sort of embarrassed. I don't want to tell the cops I was texting, or I don't want to say I was falling asleep at the wheel. So those are the people, the victims, the people like you that have been hit twice. 87% of them seek medical care. So for those 87%ers who do seek medical care, all I'm asking is add chiropractic to that whole soup. If you need more than $5,000, as Gina did, you should call your agent, Gina, and say, how much more will it cost me to get more than $5,000? Because if you get an MRI, CAT scan, ambulance, there's the $5,000. So, and we need more time than that. Okay.
Yes.
And those of you who do cause an accident, accidents happen. This red truck, did he ever say why? Why did he smash you from behind? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, Gina, what I've seen here, many people say, John, I was texting. I was texting my girlfriend, get me a cheesesteak hoagie. You're not going to tell the victim that. You're not going to tell the cops that. But they don't even brake and they smash into the back of your car 40 miles an hour. If you're driving, like I tell my kids, 2 hands on the wheel, focus what's going on, you're going to see that your car was stopped. He had to be distracted. He's not going to. People don't always tell the whole story.
Sure.
So the conclusion of tonight's show, how many people are in car accidents? 6. Most Americans have 6.2 accidents before they die.
Wow.
So almost everybody watching this show, Gene, is in an accident. But here's what I hear all day. John, 27 years ago, but that was 27 years ago. You can't tell me that's going to affect me now. Anybody watching this show, I'm not talking, I'm an honest person, Gene. If it's a slight fender bender and there's like $100 damage, I don't think they need to get medical care. But I'm talking about the 2 accidents you were in, and I see many people like this man. Yeah, I rolled my truck. It rolled on ice, and I rolled it down an embankment. Now that I should have seen a chiropractor 27 years ago. Now they come to me, Gina, when it's too late to open up a claim.
Sure.
So we did this show with Gina's testimony that 2 bad accidents. She's feeling great with chiropractic and massage therapy.
Yes. You don't have to live with the pain.
Good girl. And again, Gina, people are going to say, it makes sense what he said, but I'm afraid. I've heard that some chiropractors, they go on Hulu. These guys get ropes, Gina, and they yank people's necks. I think they make it look so sensationalized just to attract numbers, but you close this story for me. If someone's watching a show that just says, I just had a whiplash, I agree with this show, I should see a chiropractor, but I'm afraid, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to just give it a try. I think, like you said before, it's gentle and it's a gradual process, and it's only what your body can handle, each particular visit. So, it doesn't hurt to give it a try, and it certainly is better than living with pain for the rest of your life.
In closing, Gina, communication is critical. When I talk to local chiropractors who are too rough with their patients, they say to me, John, I thought the more I racked, the more money's worth their patient was getting, they'd feel happier. I ask my patients, what can you tolerate? Can I twist your neck, Gina, a little? Someone will say, no, do not twist my neck, and I don't. There's other methods to use. As they get massaged, they start feeling better. Doc, try it. Oh, that felt great. You're much more gentle than the other guys are. So any chiropractor watching the show, communicate with your patient. Get to understand where their comfort level is. Meet them. Don't say to yourself with your ego, I am the doctor. I am the chiropractor. I will do what I think is best. That patient will leave you. They are the best doctor. Listen to what they're saying. Meet them at their comfort level. And that's what we did, Gina. Yes. So it's been a joy these last couple months.
Yes.
So you just come once a month, and I hope no more car accidents. But if you are, and my point is, increase your coverage so then you can maybe, God forbid if you need it, get all that medical stuff. But then just add chiropractic to it too, okay?
Sure. Yes.
I think this was a great show.
Yes.
Thanks, Rita.
All right.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day.